The rain hammered the windshield like fists of regret, blurring the neon signs of Brooklyn into a watercolor smear of red and blue. I gripped the steering wheel tighter, my knuckles white, as Henry's voice cracked through the phone speaker. "Alex, please just get here. Dad's. He's not okay." And then, the line went dead, swallowed by static, leaving me alone with the ghost of a promise I never should have made. I slammed the car door shut behind me, the storm swallowing my shout into the night. But it was too late. The silhouette in the doorway was already crumpling. A broken man I'd only known from faded photos and half-told stories. Aaron's eyes met mine, wild with something raw and forbidden. And in that instant, the world tilted, pulling me into a gravity I couldn't escape. The wipers on my old Honda thrashed back and forth like they were trying to erase the mess I'd made of my life. But nothing could wipe away the knot in my gut. It was one of those New York autumn nights where the sky cracked open and dumped its fury on the city, turning potholes into shallow lakes and sidewalks into rivers of regret. I'd been halfway across the bridge from Manhattan when the call came in, my best friend Henry's voice slicing through the classic rock station like a dull knife. "Alex, man, I need you. His dad. He's spiraling. I can't get back from Philly in time. Just go check on him. Okay." For me, Henry and I had been thick as thieves since freshman year at NYU. Two queer kids navigating the concrete jungle with equal parts bravado and bullshit. He was the loud one, all fire and flash, drag shows on weekends and protests on weekdays. Me, I was the steady hand, the graphic designer scraping by on freelance gigs, nursing crushes I never acted on because heartbreak was a luxury I couldn't afford. Aaron, his dad, was a legend in our stories. The stoic Vietnam vet turned high school history teacher, widowed young after Henry's mom lost her battle with cancer. Aaron had raised Henry alone in that cramped brownstone in Bed-Stuy, teaching him to throw a punch and quote Whitman in the same breath. I'd met him once, at Henry's graduation, tall, broad-shouldered, with salt and pepper hair and eyes like weathered oak. He shook my hand firm, said, "Take care of my boy," and I nodded like it was no big deal. But that grip lingered in my dreams for months. Now, here I was, pounding up the stoop steps, rain plastering my hoodie to my skin, the door ajar like an invitation to chaos. "Aaron, it's Alex," Henry sent me. My voice echoed hollow in the dim hallway, lit only by a flickering bulb. The place smelled of stale coffee and old books, the kind of scent that clings to a life half-lived. I pushed deeper, heart jackhammering, until I found him in the kitchen, slumped over the Formica table, a half-empty bottle of bourbon in one hand, the other clutching a crumpled photo. He looked up slow, like the weight of the world was dragging his gaze. And God, those eyes, still sharp, still seeing right through me. But there was a fracture there now, a hairline crack in the armor. "Alex," he rasped, voice gravel from disuse. "You didn't have to come. This ain't your mess." His flannel shirt was untucked, sleeves rolled to reveal forearms corded with muscle from years of hauling lumber on weekends. He was 52, but carried it like 40, the lines around his mouth deepening as he forced a smile that didn't reach. I slid into the chair across from him, ignoring the puddle forming under my sneakers. "Henry's worried sick. Said you missed your shift at the school. Wouldn't pick up. What's going on, man?" The photo fluttered to the table, Henry as a kid, gap-toothed grin, arm around a younger Aaron at some Mets game. But it was the inscription on the back that gutted me. "To my anchor, Love, Mom. Erin's laugh was bitter, chasing the burn of bourbon. Anniversary. 25 years since she left. Feels like yesterday. He poured another splash into a chipped mug, offering it like communion. I took it, the warmth seeping into my cold fingers, and we sat there as the storm raged outside, trading stories like lifelines. He talked about her laugh, how it could cut through traffic like a siren's call. I shared about my own ghosts, a string of exes who bailed when things got real, leaving me questioning if love was just a pretty lie Americans told themselves over apple pie. Hours blurred. The rain eased to a drizzle, and Erin stood, steadying himself on the table. Come on, kid. Can't send you back in this slop without coffee. He brewed a pot, strong and black, the kind that strips your soul bare. We migrated to the living room, vinyl records stacked like sentinels beside an ancient turntable. He flipped on Coltrane, the saxophone weaving through the air like smoke, and for the first time, I saw Erin unwind, a sway in his step, a spark in his eye. Dance with me, he said, half joking, extending a hand. I froze, pulse thundering. It wasn't a request. It was a dare. My mind screamed Henry's dad, off limits, but my body betrayed me, rising to meet him. His palm was calloused, warm against my clammy one, and we moved awkward at first, two strangers orbiting a forbidden center. The music swelled, and he pulled me closer, our chests brushing, breath mingling with the scent of bourbon and rain. You're a good kid, Alex, he murmured, lips brushing my ear. Too good for this shit. I pulled back just enough to search his face, the room spinning slow. And you're not as broken as you think. It slipped out, raw, and his eyes darkened, not with anger, but hunger. The kiss came like thunder, sudden, consuming, his mouth claiming mine with a desperation that tasted of salt and sorrow. My hands fisted in his shirt, pulling him deeper, the world narrowing to the heat of his body, the scrape of stubble, the groan low in his throat. We broke apart gasping, foreheads pressed, the record skipping into silence. Fuck, he whispered, thumb tracing my jaw. What the hell are we doing? I didn't have an answer. Just the echo of Henry's voice on the phone, and the dawning horror that I'd crossed a line drawn in blood. The next morning dawned gray and unforgiving, sunlight slicing through the blinds like accusations. I woke on the couch, neck stiff, a blanket tucked around me that smelled of Erin, pine soap and faint tobacco. He was in the kitchen, humming off-key to the radio, flipping eggs like nothing had happened. But everything had. I sat up, rubbing sleep from my eyes, the memory of his lips a brand on my skin. Morning, sunshine, he called, plating food with a wink that didn't land quite right. We ate in charged silence, forks scraping plates, the air thick with unspoken what-ifs. About last night, he started, setting his mug down. I was drunk. Messed up. Won't happen again. My chest tightened, a stupid ache blooming. Yeah, of course. But my voice cracked, betraying the lie. I wanted to grab him, shake him, demand why it felt like the most honest thing we'd both done in years. Instead, I mumbled thanks and bolted, promising Henry an update text I'd never send. Back in my Bushwick walk-up, the city buzzed indifferent around me. Honking taxis, steam rising from manhole covers, the endless grind of ambition and anonymity. I dove into work, pixels blurring on my screen as I designed logos for startups that wouldn't last the year. But Aaron haunted me. The way his laugh rumbled like distant thunder, the vulnerability in his confessions. By evening, my phone lit up. Henry, finally back. Dude, thanks for last night. Dad okay? He ghosted me all day. He's fine, I typed. Thumbs heavy. Just needed company. Anniversary stuff. A white lie, but it bought time. We met at our usual dive. The Rusty Nail. All sticky floors and craft IPAs. Henry slid into the booth. Exhaustion etched on his face. But his grin was pure mischief. You're a saint, Alex. Oh, you big. What's new with you? Still dodging that grinder thirst trap. I forced a laugh, nursing my beer. Something like that. We talked shop, his latest activism gig, my stalled portfolio, but my mind wandered to Aaron's kitchen, the ghost of bourbon on my tongue. As the night wore on, Henry got tipsy, slinging an arm around me. You know, Dad's been alone too long. Mom's ghost is killing him slow. If you ever want to hang with him, like, fix that leaky faucet or whatever, he'd love it. Your family, man, family. The word twisted like a knife. I nodded, throat dry, and changed the subject to the Mets' slim playoff chances. But sleep evaded me that night, tangled in sheets, replaying the kiss until it burned. A week later, the text came, faucets acting up again. Beer after? My thumb hovered. Traitorous. Sure. 7? It was innocent, I told myself. Just helping out. But as I pulled up to the brownstone, six-pack in hand, the door swung open and there he was. Jeans low on his hips, t-shirt clinging to sweat-damp skin from some half-finished repair. Alex, he said, voice low, like my name was a secret. Glad you came. The faucet was a joke. Dripping mockery as we knelt under the sink. Tools scattered like battlefield debris. Our shoulders brushed, sparks igniting, and when his hand steadied mine on the wrench, the air crackled. You're good at this, he murmured, breath hot on my neck. Fixing things. Not everything, I shot back, meeting his gaze. The kiss this time was slower, deliberate, a surrender. We tumbled onto the linoleum, tools forgotten, hands exploring with the urgency of starved men. His body was solid, unyielding, scars from a life hard-lived mapping stories under my fingers. Tell me to stop, he growled against my throat, but I arched into him, whispering, don't you dare. After, we lay spent on the kitchen floor, staring at the ceiling fan's lazy spin. This is fucked, he said, tracing circles on my chest. Henry finds out. It'll destroy him. I know, but in that moment, with his heartbeat sinking to mine, I didn't care. We'd stolen something precious, and it tasted like freedom. Fall deepened in Brooklyn, leaves carpeting the streets in crimson and gold, the air crisp with the promise of change. But change, I learned, was a double-edged blade, sharp with joy, brutal with consequence. Aaron and I fell into a rhythm, stolen hours pieced together like a quilt of secrets. Tuesdays after his shift, I'd slip over with takeout from that halal cart on Nostrand. He'd play Springsteen on vinyl, voice rough as he sang along to Thunder Road, pulling me into dances that ended in the bedroom. His place was a time capsule, faded posters of Dylan and the Stones, bookshelves groaning under histories of civil rights and queer icons. "Read this," he'd say, pressing Audre Lorde's Zami into my hands one night, his fingers lingering. "She gets it. The ache of loving against the grain." Aaron wasn't out. Not fully. He'd buried that part of himself after the war, after marriage, after loss. But with me, it unfurled slow, like a flag in hesitant wind. We'd talk till dawn. His Hanoi memories, the buddies he'd loved in foxholes but never named. My coming-out wars in a conservative upstate family that still sent birthday cards with Bible verses tucked inside. "You're brave," he'd say, propped on an elbow, moonlight gilding his stubble. "Out and proud in this madhouse." I'd laugh, deflecting the praise. But inside, it swelled validation from a man who'd built walls higher than the Brooklyn Bridge. Henry noticed the shift, though. Over burgers at Shake Shack, he'd squint at me. "You seem lighter." "Got a secret, boo." I choke on my fry, mumbling about a project, and he'd let it slide, too wrapped in his own whirl. A new flame, a barista named Javier with tattoos like living art. "Dad loves you, you know," he'd add casually, ketchup on his chin. "Says you're the son he never had." Keep an eye. Yeah. Guilt gnawed like termites. I'd nod, vowing to end it, but then Aaron's text would ping, "Miss your laugh." Porch lights on dot, and I'd go running, moth to flame. The first crack came mid-November, frost nipping the air, Thanksgiving looming like a family obligation. Aaron invited me to help prep the bird, code for an afternoon alone. We basted turkey in his kitchen, flour dusting our clothes, laughter echoing as he smeared a dollop on my nose. "War paint," he grinned, and pulled me close, kissing me deep, flowery and sweet. But the doorbell rang mid-embrace. Henry, early from Javier's, key in hand. We sprang apart, Aaron wiping his mouth, me grabbing a dish rag like a shield. "Hey, Pops, Alex, you here too? Double team on dinner. Nice." Henry's hug was bearish, oblivious, but his eyes flicked between us, a shadow of doubt. We played it off chopping onions, trading jabs about football, but the air hummed tense, electric with near miss. That night, after Henry crashed on the couch, Aaron cornered me in the hall. "Close call," he whispered, hand on my hip. "We gotta be careful," but his touch lingered, thumb circling, and we stole a kiss in the shadows, hearts pounding like fugitives. Weeks blurred into a fever dream. We carved out pockets, a matinee at the BAM, hands brushing in the dark during moonlight, drives to Coney Island in winter's bite, sharing cotton candy that stuck to chapped lips. Aaron opened up about the war, not the glory, but the quiet horrors, the lover he'd lost to shrapnel, the letters burned in shame. "I thought marrying Ellen would fix me," he confessed one night, rain pattering the window like impatient fingers. "But love don't work that way. It's messy, Alex. Real." I shared my scars too, the ex who outed me to my folks for spite, the jobs lost to whispers of lifestyle choices. In his arms, I felt seen, not as the sidekick to Henry's hero, but as whole. "You're my road out," I told him, tracing the tattoo on his bicep, a compass rose, inked in Saigon. He kissed my knuckles, ice fierce. "Then let's navigate this together." But betrayal brews in the blind spots. It hit during a snow-dusted December, the city blanketed white, holiday lights twinkling like false promises. Henry threw his annual ugly sweater bash. Our crew crammed into his tiny apartment, eggnog flowing, RuPaul carols blasting. Aaron showed, reluctant but game, in a reindeer-knit horror that made me snort. We orbited careful. Stolen glances over punch bowls, brushes in the kitchen chaos. Javier cornered me by the mistletoe. I sharp. You and Aaron, there's something, yeah, the way he looks at you. It's not fatherly. My blood iced. What? No. Man, you're seeing things. But Javier, with his artist's eye, wasn't buying. Be careful, amigo. Henry's blind, but not forever. I brushed it off, but paranoia seeded. Aaron pulled me aside later, breath fogging the fire escape. Javi said something? I lied smooth, hating myself, and we kissed fierce against the railing, snowflakes melting on our lashes. I love you, he murmured, first time spoken aloud. It shattered me, joy and terror in equal measure. Love you too, I echoed, clinging like it could anchor us. New Year's Eve cracked the facade. Henry planned a rooftop rager in Bushwick. Fireworks illegal but inevitable. Aaron begged off, old man bones, but texted meet me after. My place. I went to the party half-hearted. Champagne fizzing flat on my tongue. Henry pulled me into a bro hug at midnight, countdown echoing. To new beginnings. Alex, and to you sticking around for Dad, he's happier lately. You're doing, my smile faltered. Just being a friend. But as the clock struck, guilt crested like a wave. I slipped out early, cab to bed Stewie, heart racing. Aaron waited on the stoop, bottle of Veuve in hand, grin boyish. Happy New Year, handsome, we toasted on the steps, bubbles tickling noses, then tumbled inside, shedding coats and inhibitions. The lovemaking was reverent, slow, candlelight flickering over sweat-slick skin, whispers of forever. Curled after, he traced my spine. Run away with me. California. Start fresh. Dreamy words, but they landed heavy. Henry, I whispered. He sighed. We'll tell him. Together. He loves you, he'll understand. Optimism, American as pie. But dawn brought the storm, literal and not. I woke to pounding rain. Aaron's sighed cold. Note on the pillow, coffee run. Back soon. Love. Smiling, I showered, humming, until my phone buzzed. Henry. Where the fuck are you? Dad's place? Javier saw you leave last night. What's going on? Panic clawed. I dressed frantic, bursting out to find Henry on the stoop. Face thunderous. Aaron frozen behind him with 2 steaming mugs. Alex. Henry's voice broke, eyes darting from me to his dad, pieces slotting cruel. Tell me I'm wrong. The silence stretched eternal, rain sheeting down like judgment. The rain turned the stoop into a slick altar of reckoning, water sluicing between the cracks like tears we couldn't shed. Henry's eyes, those fierce, loyal eyes I trusted since day one, bored into me, then Aaron, the betrayal etching lines deeper than years could. Pops? Alex? What the actual fuck? His voice was a whip crack, raw with the sting of double-cross. Aaron set the mugs down slow, steam curling like ghosts. Henry, son, let's talk inside. It's not. But Henry whirled, fists balled. Not what? Not you screwing my best friend behind my back? How long? Dad? How long have you been lying? The words landed like shrapnel, and I flinched, mouth dry, no defense rising. Months, Aaron admitted, voice steady as rebar. He stepped forward, hand outstretched, but Henry recoiled like burned. Ever since Alex helped that night, it just happened. We didn't plan. Save it, Henry barked, turning on me, eyes glassy. You, my brother, I asked you to look out for him, not this. Betrayal twisted his features, the kid who'd shared bunk beds at camp, who'd held my hand through my first Pride March, now seeing me as Judas. I trusted you, Alex. With everything, I reached for him, desperate. Henry, please. It's real. I love him. The confession hung, naked, but it only fueled the fire. Love? You're fucking my dad. That's not love. That's pity fuck or midlife crisis or whatever bullshit straight-passing queers tell themselves to feel less alone. Aaron's face paled, the barb slicing old wounds. Watch your mouth. Boy. This ain't about you, but it was, everything was. Henry laughed. Hollow. It is. You raised me to be honest, to fight for what's right. And you, hiding in the closet while Mom rotted away? Now this. He shoved past, shoulder clipping mine, storming down the steps into the deluge. Henry, I yelled, but Aaron grabbed my arm. Grip iron. Let him go. He'll cool off. We stood there, drenched, as his taillights vanished into the gray. Inside, the apartment felt cavernous, echoes mocking our whispers. Aaron poured coffee black, hands trembling. We should have told him sooner. My fault. No, I said, pulling him close, but the embrace felt fragile, cracked porcelain. We thought we had time. We clung through the morning, making love like it could mend. Fierce, apologetic thrusts, but release brought no peace, only the hollow after-echo of loss. Word spread insidious, New Year's gossip amplified by Javier's loose lips. By Monday, texts pinged like bullets. Heard about you and Aaron. Messy. From mutuals, from exes, even my sister upstate. Proud of you for being you, but Henry's devastated. Call him. I did, voicemails piling unanswered, pleas dissolving into static. Work crumbled. Freelance dried up. Clients sensed distraction in my rushed comps. Aaron fared worse. School whispers turning to stares. The principal pulling him aside for a chat about personal matters affecting morale. He came home hollow-eyed. I ask you. They think I'm a predator. Me, the guy who chaperones prom. Rage boiled. Fuck them. Sue for defamation. But he shook his head. Weary. Not worth it. This town's small. Alex. Scandals stick like gum on soles. We retreated inward, fortifying our bubble. Nights became rituals. Take-out tie. The wire marathons. His head on my lap as I carded fingers through his hair. Remember Coney? He'd murmur. Voice thick. Windswept and stupid. Felt like kids. I'd kiss his temple. Whispering plans, that California dream. Sun-bleached beaches and fresh starts. But doubt crept. A thief in the night. The climax brewed slow, then erupted mid-February. Valentine's shadow looming. Henry finally answered a call. Voice iced over. Meet me. Neutral ground. The nail. Tonight. My stomach nodded, but Aaron nodded grim. Go. I'll be here. The rusty nail was dim as ever, jukebox crooning Patsy Cline. Henry nursed a whiskey neat, Javier absent, smart man. He looked wrecked, hollow cheeks, eyes red-rimmed. "Sit," he said, flat. I did, words tumbling. "I'm sorry. For hurting you. For the lie." He snorted. "Lie? Try betrayal. You knew how I idolized you too, my rock-solid family. Now, it's porn fodder for the neighborhood." Venom dripped, but beneath, pain pulsed raw. Why him? Alex, of all people. Couldn't find some rando on Scruff? I leaned in, voice breaking. Because he's not a rando. He's everything. Kind, broken in ways that match mine. We see each other, Henry. Really see. Tears pricked. I swiped them angry. I never meant to fall. But love doesn't ask permission. He stared, glass sweating. Love. Right. And Dad? He out now? Parading you like some trophy? Bitterness laced, but curiosity flickered. Does he talk about Mom? About us? All the time. I softened. Says you're the best thing he ever did. Proud as hell. Silence stretched. Bridge building tentative. I miss you, I added. Small. My friend. Henry's jaw worked. Conflict warring. Miss the idea of you. Maybe. But this? It changes everything. He drained his glass, standing abrupt. Tell Dad. I need space. But don't give up on him. He's worth it. The door swung shut behind him, leaving me adrift in neon glow. Back home, Aaron waited, anxiety etching furrows. Well, I collapsed into him, recounting. His laugh was shaky relief. Space. That's something. We celebrated fragile, roses from the bodega, candlelit pasta. But joy felt borrowed, clock ticking. Spring teased early, cherry blossoms defiant in Prospect Park. We walked there Sundays, hands brushing covert, pretending normalcy. Aaron's hand in mine felt revolutionary. Two men, graying but glowing, defying the stairs. This is America, he joked, bittersweet. Land of the free, home of the brave lovers, but freedom's cost mounted. My portfolio tanked. Gigs ghosted after vibes check, calls unearthed the drama. Aaron's tenure review loomed, whispers of instability poisoning the well. One night, post-layoff email, I shattered, sobbing into his shirt, fears spilling. What if we lose it all? Henry, jobs, us. He held me fierce, voice anchor. Then we rebuild. Like always, but doubt shadowed his eyes. The war vet's pragmatism clashing with the lover's hope. The breaking point came April Fool's irony cruel. Henry texted, family dinner. My place. Truce? Bring Dad. Heart soaring. We prepped. Lasagna layered with care. Wine decanted. Javier answered the door, wary but warm. He's trying, he said, clapping my shoulder. Henry greeted stiff, hug wooden, but the table thawed slow, stories swapped, laughs tentative. Aaron's foot nudged mine under cloth, secret Morse. Midway, Henry raised glass. To fucked up families. And forgiveness. Eyes met, wounds cauterizing. But betrayal's echo lingered. As plates cleared, Javier's phone buzzed, gossip chain. A colleague's email. Aaron's affair leaked to the board. They're voting tomorrow, Henry read, face ashen. Pops, this could end your career. Chaos erupted. Aaron bolted for the school, me trailing, Henry shouting plans. We stormed the office at dawn, principal's desk a battlefield. Slander, Aaron growled, evidence stacked, anonymous tip traced to a jealous rival. The vote flipped, tenure held, but scars ran deep. In the parking lot, rain slicking again, Henry pulled us into a huddle. You too. You're idiots. But real. His grin cracked. First true since. Don't fuck it up. Summer scorched Brooklyn. Humidity thick as unspoken vows. The city pulsing with fire hydrant sprays and bodega fans whirring lazy. With the school's drama quelled, the leaker fired, Aaron's rep salvaged on technicalities, our triad mended fragile. Henry didn't forgive overnight. Trust rebuilds like levees after flood, layer by grudging layer. Dinners became weekly, Javier's cooking a bridge, empanadas spicy as his quips, easing barbs into banter. You're glowing, old man, Henry teased one night, clinking beers with Aaron. Alex is good for you. Keeps the dust off. Aaron's arms slung casual over my shoulders. Public now in our bubble. And I leaned in, heart full. Damn right, I murmured, stealing a kiss that earned Henry's eye roll. Get a room, lovebirds. Some of us are trying to eat. Javier laughed, but his glance held weight, reminder of the world's sharper edges. Outside our circle, judgment simmered. Stares at the farmer's market, whispers in line at the bagel shop. Aaron shrugged it off, veteran stoic. But I saw the toll, nights he woke sweating, ghosts of disapproval heavier than shrapnel. Work pivoted for me. A queer-owned agency scooped my portfolio, drawn to the authenticity in my lines. Gigs flowed, campaigns for pride events, logos for trans support lines. You're on fire, Aaron said, pride swelling as I showed sketches. My artist. Evenings. I draw him. Charcoal smudges capturing laugh lines. The curve of his neck while he graded papers. Red pen slashing like a lover's mark. Henry's truce deepened into alliance. He dragged us to his drag show fundraiser. Pops, you owe me for all those heteronormative Thanksgivings. And Aaron, reluctant in fishnets borrowed from Javier, stole the stage with a lip sync to share that had the house roaring. Backstage, sweat slick, he pulled me into the green room. That for you, he panted, kissing fierce. All of it, but romance's bloom invites thorns. Aaron's past resurfaced late July. A letter forwarded from an old army buddy, yellowed envelope, postmark Vietnam expat. Inside, faded photos, young Aaron, grinning cocky in fatigues, arms slung around a soldier with eyes like melted chocolate. Miss you, Hank, the note read. Heard you're stateside. Wife, kids, still that wild heart? Tom, he crumpled it, face storm dark, but I pried gentle. Who was he? Over whiskey on the fire escape, stars indifferent above. It poured Tom, the foxhole love, stolen kisses in monsoon mud. Lost to a mine, body never recovered. Broke me, Aaron confessed, voice ash. Ellen was safe, steady. But you're the fire I thought died. I held him as sobs racked. Our love a phoenix from those embers. I'm here, I whispered. No minds, no ghosts. Just us. Dawn found us entwined, Vows renewed in sweat and whispers. August brought heatwave haze, tempers fraying citywide. Henry's activism peaked, a rally against a proposed family values bill gutting queer protections. Come, he begged. Show 'em we're unbreakable. Aaron hesitated, PTSD flaring at crowds, but I coaxed him, hand in mine through the throng. Chants rose. Love is love. Signs bobbed, rainbow flags snapping. But counter-protesters lurked. Venom spewed from megaphones. Sinners, perverts, a bottle sailed, shattering near Aaron's feet. He froze, eyes distant, war crashing back. I shielded him, heart hammering, until cops waded in, dispersing the hate. Back home, he paced feral. Can't do this, Alex. The world's still a minefield. Doubt cracked his voice, the humanist crumbling under history's boot. Maybe Henry's right. We're fools chasing fairy tales. No, I fierce, cupping his face. We're the story. Messy, real American as fuck. We fought then. Words weapons, his fear versus my fire. Love's friction sparking ugly truths. You think I don't scare too? I yelled. Every day, wondering if you'll wake up and choose safe over me. He grabbed me, kiss bruising, makeup raw, reclaiming. Fall whispered in, leaves turning traitor gold. We planned the escape. California, Aaron's wanderlust reignited. Big Sur, he'd muse, maps spread on the table. Cliffs and waves. Room to breathe. Henry, surprisingly, championed. Go. But visit, Javi wants beach vaki deets. Over coffee, he pulled me aside. You saved him, Alex. From himself. Don't forget that. But climax loomed insidious. October gale ripped through, uprooting trees like regrets. Aaron's ex-colleague, the fired leaker, resurfaced, anonymous blog post, teacher scandal, grooming the son's friend, lies twisted, ages fudged, consent blurred, photos doctored from that one graduation snap. It went viral in ed circles, shares spiking like fever. The school suspended him pending investigation. Principal's office a farce of platitudes. Protecting the kids, they droned, ignoring Aaron's 30 years spotless. Reporters sniffed, local news van idling outside the brownstone. Henry raged, lawyering up pro bono through activist ties. We'll sue their asses, he vowed, Javier nodding fierce. Nights blurred anxious, Aaron pacing, chain-smoking despite quit vows. Me fielding calls, shielding him from the fray. This is it, he said one storm-lashed evening, thunder rumbling sympathy. The world sang no, despair clung, heavy as humidity. I snapped then, grabbing his collar. Fuck the world, we say yes. Rain lashed windows as we collided, sex desperate, reclaiming agency in gasps and grips. After, tangled, he whispered, marry me. Vegas. Quick and dirty, laughter bubbled, absurd joy. Yes, I breathed. Hell yes. Henry walked him down the aisle, neon chapel. Elvis officiant, grinning through tears. My two idiots, he toasted post-vows. Rings glinting cheap but true. Javier snapped pics. Flash popping like fireworks. But betrayal's final twist waited. Back east. Unpacking boxes in our rented Queens two-bedroom. California dream deferred by the suit. A knock echoed. Henry, face grave, envelope in hand. Read this. From Mom's stuff. Dad hid it. Inside. Ellen's letter. Dated her last chemo round. Aaron. My love, if I go, find your truth. The boy you loved in Nam? Let him live in you. For Henry. For us. Be brave. Water-stained. Heartfelt. Aaron crumpled. Weeping silent. She knew. All along. Henry hugged him. First unarmored embrace. She loved you whole. We all do. Winter wrapped Brooklyn in iron embrace. Snow muffling the city's roar to a hush of possibility. The lawsuit dragged. Depositions droning in fluorescent-lit rooms. But vindication came swift. Settlement fat. Name cleared. The leaker's blog scrubbed to oblivion. Aaron returned to the classroom triumphant. Syllabus laced with queer history units that had kids leaning in, eyes wide. This, he told me after first bell. Tie straight. Spark reignited. This is legacy. Our life settled into poetry. Mornings tangled in Egyptian cotton, a splurge. Coffee brewing as Coltrane spun. Evenings at Henry's for game nights. Javier's trash talk fiercer than any debate. Betrayal scar faded to silver. A reminder etched. Love's not a straight line, but a subway map twists, transfers, occasional derailments. Yet humanism's core beats in the quiet fractures. Aaron's PTSD lingered. Flares triggered by sirens or crowds. I'd hold him through night terrors, whispering anchors till dawn. You're my safe harbor, he'd murmur, gratitude raw. I shared my own shadows, imposter syndrome gnawing at successes, the fear that joys just borrowed time. We'd therapy tandem, a queer couples counselor in Park Slope unpacking layers like old luggage. Spring bloomed defiant, cherry petals confetti on our anniversary stroll. 1 year since that rain-soaked kiss, and here we were, partners, equals, survivors. California still? I teased, hand in his. He grinned, boyish. Nah. This jungle's home. Roots run deep. Henry proposed over brunch, not to Javier, but a joint venture, co-hosting a queer youth center in Bed-Stuy, funded by Aaron's settlement slice. Your histories, my fire, he said, eyes shining. Make it mean something. We dove in. Walls painted rainbow. Workshops on coming out and allyship. Kids trickled, wary at first, then blooming. A trans teen sketching flags. A bi kid quoting Lord with fire. Climaxes echo faded, but emotions tide swelled eternal. One June Eve. Rooftop party for the center's launch. City sprawled glittering below. Henry emceed. Mike hot. To family, blood. Chosen. Mended. Aaron pulled me aside. Ring box velvet in pocket. Not proposal, but vow renewal. Simple bands engraved Thunder Road. Forever, Alex. Through storms and shines. Tears pricked as we exchanged. Crowd whooping oblivious. Javier snapped the shot. Us silhouetted against skyline. Foreheads touching. Love's gravity unyielding. But life's humanism lies in the ache beneath triumph. Aaron's health faltered summer's end. Prostate scare. Biopsy looming. We waited in sterile halls. Hands clasped. Henry's texts a lifeline. Strong together. Benign. Thank God. But it stripped us bare. Mortality's whisper. Urging presence over perfection. Fall deepened. Leaves a carpet of gold. We drove upstate for Thanksgiving, my folks' farm. Tentative olive branch. They met Aaron stiff. Forks scraping awkward. But my sister's wink over pie eased. He suits you. Progress. Inchmeal. Winter solstice brought closure. Aaron burned Tom's letter in the backyard fire pit. Ashes swirling free. Goodbye, old love, he whispered. Hello. This one. I kissed him slow. Snowflakes veiling. Our story a testament. Love as verb. Fierce and forgiving. Years folded forward. The center thrived. Henry and Javier adopting a scrappy rescue pup named Whitman. Aaron retired golden, teaching adjunct at NYU Irony Suite, while I illustrated a memoir on queer vets. His words my muse. We aged graceful. Silver threading our hair. Lines mapping laughs. On our 10th. Rooftop redux, Brooklyn dusk. Rain threatening but holding. Henry toasted. Voice thick. To the night that changed everything. And the men who made it right. We danced slow to Coltrane. Bodies familiar. Souls synced. As stars pricked velvet sky. Aaron leaned close. Never expected you, he murmured. But damn. I'm grateful. Me too. In America's grand, flawed tapestry, dramatic hearts, emotional tempests, romantic gambles, we'd woven something enduring. Human, holy. The end? Not. Just the hook to the next chapter.